So maybe it means then when evil is done to you and you want to do revenge, you want to be participating in evil itself, you should take a second and you should pause. So I was thinking about this, I was reading, this is Ayah 238. God, the God of the Quran, commands people, this is what it says, observe the 5 obligatory prayers. Actually, 5 obligatory is in quote, so take that how you will. So observe the prayers, especially the middle prayer, and stand in true devotion to God. If you are in danger, pray on foot or while riding. When you are safe, remember God for teaching you what you did not know. Seems pretty clear to me, but why pray? Now, I know when I was talking about fasting before, people say, fast because God tells you to fast. Don't eat pork because God tells you don't eat pork. But that's a fine explanation. But I don't look at the world like that. I think that everything that the creator of the universe, so if you are created for a reason, everything that the creator of the universe would do, it would presuppose that everything the creator of the universe is telling you to do is good for you. I don't think that you can find, I think that's 100%, like, from what I've seen so far, this is how I look at the world. God created you. So the bad things that happen in your life are opportunities for you to grow. Good things that happen to you in your life are opportunities to be grateful. The fasting can have multiple different benefits. Now, I understand the idea that just do it because God says so. But that doesn't take away this idea that what God tells you to do is good for you in this world. Even if the next world doesn't exist, I would say that some things that happen with this idea of God is true even if it's not true. So even if you're an atheist and you don't believe in God, you could admit that fasting is good for you for multiple different reasons. You can take health reasons as one example. Or you can also take the idea that let's figure out what it's like to not be able to eat for a day. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Does that give me empathy? Okay, how does food taste after you haven't eaten all day? What about observing your behavior when you're hungry? What about that? What about observing how gluttonous you are after you eat? In your mind or in your body, you have this thing called the hypothalamus. It's this little part in the back of your brain. This is what regulates the hunger hormone. So you have your prefrontal cortex, your frontal lobe, and your frontal lobe is basically the part of your brain that allows you to observe the rest of your brain and your body. It is the least developed part of your brain. And essentially the way the brain works, it works on layers with one another. So what that means is that the hypothalamus will shoot an image of food, shoot like a craving of food. And then you have to use your frontal lobe to exercise restraint over the hypothalamus. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, what brings me up is that while you're fasting, you're in contrast with yourself. In other words, you could say God is telling you to fast and you shouldn't question it, but I think the fun is questioning it. I think the fun is going, okay, well, if I believe that God wants the best for me, right? Okay, so I believe that God wants the best for me. So if I believe God wants the best for me, then what he's telling me is good for me whether I like it or not. I think that's fine. But I think that it's even cooler to observe the world and see if this is good for me or this is not good for me and why. So you can have 2 modes of being at the same time, which leads me to the prayer. Now, does God need your prayer? Does it make God feel good? Does he sit there and go, this guy's praying to me. Look at all these people praying to me. Does it make him feel good? I think that's irrelevant. I think it's not a relevant point. I think actually I would argue that the prayer is good for you. So I did a little bit of research on the prayer, on the Muslim prayer. Now, I'll give you some of my thoughts right now, but let me pull up what all the prayers are called and we can have some fun with the prayer, understanding like the prayer just from I guess like a secular perspective. Why not, right? So actually, I wanted to focus on the. So actually, what I wanted to focus on was the first prayer. I think my camera cut, so sorry if it's a little bit back and forth. It won't happen again. I think what I want to focus on is on the first prayer, the Fajr prayer. Now, the cool thing about the Fajr prayer is it's before dawn until sunrise. So maybe 4 to 5, in between 4 to 5. Now, one thing about me is, I'll tell you guys a story, because I'm Mr. Storyman. One time I had a girlfriend, and we broke up, and the anxiety that comes with a breakup is always interesting, right? So I couldn't sleep. So I decided, instead of just laying in bed not sleeping, every day when I can't sleep, I'll just get up and I go to the gym. So I'd wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I would just go work out. And what ended up happening was, because I was like, okay, well, I kind of like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and going to work out. At 10 o'clock, I'd be way too asleep, which means that I couldn't party. I couldn't go out, and I couldn't do what I would call stupid stuff. I couldn't do all the stupid stuff. And because I couldn't do all the stupid stuff, I was able to get more disciplined in my life. Okay, where does this add up? Well, if the Muslim religion is telling you to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just thank the creator of the universe for your own existence, that's going to do two things. One, it's going to give you a very high level of discipline. And then the second thing that it's going to do is it's going to force you to get up so you don't do stupid crap at night. It's very easy to slip. The human always slips. So if these are the necessary prayers that you have to make: Fajr, which is before dawn, Duhur, I hope I'm pronouncing it, Duhur, that's after the sun in the afternoon, like it's a little afternoon. Asr, which is late afternoon. Maghrib, which is after sunset. And then Isha, which is like basically at night. So you're praying, boom, 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 boom. So you got to do this 5 times a day. It's hard. It's not easy, but so is fasting. But so is life. Like, life is hard, you know. If you can stick to a regimen, that's what I was thinking about that guy that I met at jiu-jitsu. He's like, it gives me discipline. This is a difficult thing to do. I'm curious to how many Muslims actually do this. Does every Muslim pray 5 times a day? I'm sure that people miss it all the time. I'm sure that doesn't invalidate your religion or what you believe. But what I'm saying is that God, I don't think God gets like good feelings. Like he creates you to pray with me so he can feel good about himself. I don't think that there's like that level of insecurity. What I think it is that if you stop and pray 5 times a day or more or whatever, you end up feeling good about yourself. So here, what I want to do is I kind of want to break down like what's happening in the prayer. Maybe I'll save it for the next video. I want to break down what's happening kind of in the prayer, and then we can discuss if this is, because that's my theory. Because I know that some things like you're saying like God is great every time you move. I looked that up, which seems pretty good. Like if you think of God as the creator of the universe and you're thinking about how great it is, then inevitably you're grateful for being here. And if you're grateful for being here, maybe that's the antidote to depression. Maybe the reason why a lot of people are so negative is because we always focus on the negative. But then how do you balance that out with focus? Like right now, for example, right? You have this stuff that's happening in the Middle East. How do you balance out the positive and negative? What's happening there? It's very fascinating because it's saying like if you go towards the truth, here's a setup for you that's going to help your life be better today. It seems like a monk religion kind of. Because people pray, like I think I read somewhere that people pray all throughout the night, 1/3 of the night or 2/3 of the night. It seems like that's like what a monk does. Fascinating how the religion has been portrayed as this crazy religion, but really it seems like a monk religion, you know. But also there's crazy people in all religions. There's crazy people in all belief systems. Okay, next video. We'll go to the next video. Goodbye.